Oh my god. So I found this really old magazine from the 1970s that has a whole bunch of interesting things like how much eggs cost in 1970s versus 1960s, but you won't believe what's on the back page. This is a full-page propaganda ad by the Tobacco Institute complaining about the smoking versus non-smoking sections that people are demanding. A word to smokers about people who build walls. It's no secret that there are some folks these days who are trying to build walls between smokers and non-smokers. The theory behind all this is that some smokers annoy non-smokers, and of course that can happen. But if you want to get an idea of the ridiculous lengths that some of the wall builders would like to go to, you have only to consider this. In one state alone, it was estimated that the first year's cost of administrating and enforcing a proposed anti-smoking law and building the physical walls required was nearly $250 million. The proposal was, of course, defeated, for the plain fact is the one you have observed in your own daily life, that the overwhelming majority of smokers and non-smokers get along very well and don't need or want to be separated. This infuriates the wall builders, since they cannot have their own way in a world of free choice. They would rather like to eliminate that world by government fiat, by rules and regulations that would tell you where and with whom you may eat, play, and shop. And the enormous burden that would place on all of us in higher taxes and cost does not bother them. Certainly no one, including smokers, can properly object to the common sense rules of, for instance, banning smoking in crowded elevators, poorly ventilated spaces, or indeed in any place where it is clearly inappropriate. An individual manager in their own interest should see to the mutual comfort of their smoking and non-smoking patrons. It is only when the long arm and notoriously insensitive hands of government regulators start making these private arrangements for us that we all, smoker and non-smoker alike, will begin to lose our freedom of choice. In the long run, the wall builders must fail, and the walls will come tumbling down, if not to the sound of a trumpet, then at least to the slower but surer music of common decency and courtesy practiced on both sides of them. Now that was specifically written to people who smoke. Now the next part is written to people who don't smoke. The chances are that you have made up your mind about smoking a long time ago and decided it's not for you. The chances are equally good that you know a lot of smokers. There are, after all, about 60 million of them, and that you may be related to some of them, work with them, play with them, and get along with them very well. And finally, it's a pretty safe bet that you are open-minded and interested in all the various issues about smokers and non-smokers, or you wouldn't be reading this. And those three things make you incredibly important today, because they mean that yours is the voice, not the smokers and not the anti-smokers, that will determine how much of society's efforts should go into building walls that separate us, and how much should go into the search for solutions that bring us together. For one tragic result of the emphasis on building walls is the diversions of millions of dollars from scientific research on the causes and cures of diseases which, when all is said and done, still strike the non-smoker as well as the smoker. One prominent health organization, to cite but a single instance, now spends 28 cents of every publicly contributed dollar on education, much of it in anti-smoking propaganda, and only 2% on research. There will always be some who want to build walls, who want to separate people from people, and up to a point, even these may serve society. The anti-smoking wall builders have, to give them their due, helped to make us all more keenly aware of the value of courtesy and of individual freedom of choice. But our guess, and certainly our hope, is that you are among the far greater number who know that walls are only temporary at best, and that over the long run, we can serve society's interest better by working together in mutual accommodation. Whatever virtue walls may have, they can never move our society toward fundamental solutions. People who work together on common problems, their common solutions can. The Tobacco Institute, 1976 K Street Northwest, Washington, D.C. Freedom of choice is the best choice.